Hello and welcome to this edition of Takeaway Tuesday. My name is Andrea Chamberlain. I am a trainer and a forensic interview specialist at the National Children's Advocacy Center. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about the questions that we use during a forensic interview. Now, we've all been to a basic forensic interview training, and one thing that we hear over and over and over again is use open-ended questions. And it sounds so simple and it sounds so easy. What is an open-ended question, though? It's truly taking something the child has given us previously and then expounding on that statement. So if a child says, "I was in my bedroom, my cousin came in and he hurt me," we would follow up with, "Tell me more about your cousin hurting you," or "What happened next," or "Then what happened?" An open-ended question is an invitation. It's an invitation for the child to give us more information about something that they previously mentioned. And research is clear that the more that we can use open-ended questions or invitationals, the better the child is going to be as far as giving us information. So we really want to maximize the use of open-ended questions. Another thing that we often do as interviewers is we will say, "Tell me," and "Tell me more about," or "Tell me everything about," or "Help me understand," "Explain," "Describe," in efforts to have that child give us more information. Unfortunately, what we do in a forensic interview is we will take that "tell me" and we will couple that with a WH question. Now remember, a WH question limits the scope of the information the child gives us, and generally the children will only give us a maybe 2 or 3 word answer. They don't give us this really long narrative, so it's a short response. But what we do is we will take a "tell me, what color was the car?" So we take that "tell me," we couple that with a WH question, and our hope is, because we've used the "tell me," that it becomes this really great invitational or narrative encouraging question. It does not. And according to research in the article that this Takeaway Tuesday is based on, that is known as a faux invitation. So it starts out great with the "tell me," but then we shut it down and the child then responds, if they respond at all, with a very short answer. It doesn't really get us much at all. So we have to be selective when we're in a forensic interview. We have to be very deliberate with the questions that we ask. And research is clear that as interviewers, during the pre-substantive phase of the interview, and that generally is our rapport building, maybe our guidelines, our rules, narrative practice, family, just dependent on the structure that you use, but they're all very similar, is that we're pretty good about using those invitational, using those open-ended questions. It's only when we transition and we go to the substantive phase of the interview, in other words, what is the child there to talk about, whatever the allegations are, then our questions become much less open. We start using a majority of the WH questions, and then we even add in the option posing questions, those yes/no questions or multiple choice questions. The challenge is WH questions, by their very nature, are very limiting. We get little information, and we get even less information once we start using those yes/no or multiple choice questions. We don't really want to spend much time in our interview in those types of questions. That being said, you're never going to get through a forensic interview without having some WH questions. What we want to do is try to limit those WHs. I think about an interview that I reviewed several years ago, and I literally quit counting at the 64th WH question in a row that the interviewer had asked. At that point, it was like, "Oh, I'm done. I can't watch this." It felt much more like an interrogation than an interview. And the child was just giving short 1 or 2 word answers to all of those different questions. So you want to make sure that in the interview, you really want to open it up. Stay as long as you can. Encourage that narrative. Let the child do the talking. And we know if the children are doing the talking, we're liable to get more information, which means we also, as interviewers, we have to work less. Now, another challenge for us in the forensic interview is that we will ask a really great invitational, what happened next? But before the child can respond, we immediately then ask a WH question. So it would be, what happened next? Did he hit you? And so now we have this great invitation, and then we have a WH question. There has been no time for that child to respond to the invitational. And what they will usually do is respond to the WH. So we would just stopped ourselves and we would have stayed with that open-ended question instead of, again, that negative recasting where we ask a very specific WH question. We would have gotten more information. So multiple challenges as we attempt to gather information from children, and it sounds so much easier than it actually is. We've all been in interviews where we ask a question, and as soon as we ask that question, we wish we could just rewind and take it back, and it just becomes so challenging. What you have to do as interviewers is you have to be deliberate. You have to consistently think about the questions you're going to ask the child, and you want to make those as invitational, as open-ended as possible, because if you do, the child will more than likely give you more information about his or her experiences. If you'd like more information, please check out calio.org. Also look at the NCAC Virtual Training Center for different webinars and seminars that have been recorded with experts in the field. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please email me at the link below. Thanks and have a great day.